I feel like you can only get that feeling from someone that you feel like they are going all in on you, right? Regardless of what they're going to get back out
Whitney.
of the relationship.
You're right.
A couple of other questions I had. What is, and I don't want to call them like tactics because it's really not. I think master networkers have something just a little bit different ingrained in them. But what is, for lack of a better word, kind of one of your favorite ways to network, or a favorite tactic that if people listening, if that was the only thing they took away today to start implementing, maybe they want to improve their networking skills, what would that one thing be?
Invest in every relationship and start that investment way before you need to. If I have a lunch with someone, a dinner or whatever kind of meeting, generally 3 days beforehand, I will spend as much as an hour to 3 hours getting to know them without having gotten to know them yet. I will, go to LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I'll Google their names, Mr. Bill Bowling, and then I'll Google Mr. and Mrs. Bill Bowling, and I may find out that Mrs. Bill Bowling, Hakika, who's a dear, dear, dear person, was involved in something interesting, and she's done some things on her own that are fascinating, and by knowing that, it lets me know her better, but it also gives me another conversation piece to discuss with her husband when the two of us get together to have a conversation.
Right.
There's an example in the book of a situation with a guy that's just retired as CIO of NCR, Mr. Bill Van Kuren. Before I first met him, I did that sort of research, and I knew that his two boys were working at one at Publix and one at Kroger, and we ended up having a long conversation about it and how they've matured being in high school and working through high school, even though he's very successful, and certainly they didn't need to work financially in high school. And Bill told me at the end of the meeting, he said, I've never sat down with someone that knew as much about me before we sat down. We became dear friends. We're still dear friends 15 years later. And we ended up doing business with NCR and some money, changed hands. That wasn't the point of the conversation, but it ended up creating the atmosphere to have that sort of conversation. And so I guess that's, to me, the critical component. And it's so easy to do it. A lot of people say they're not afraid of hard work. I always realize when someone says that, I'm talking to someone that's never done any. Hard work is hard work, but it's called networking. The work part is critical. So you've got to put it in beforehand. And, I don't care how smart you are, how many college degrees you have, whatever the case might be, we always need to be learning something new every single day. And we can start that by getting to know the people. Some people think it's akin to stalking, but I think it's much better than that. It's finding out things about a person that they think is important to them so that you can in turn figure out a way to parlay. And if you find somebody's a big Georgia Bulldog fan or a Auburn Tiger or Georgia Tech, Yellow Jacket or whatever, at some point you're going to have your hands on some tickets. Who do you go to give the tickets to, and who do you invite to go to the game, or whatever the case may be? So there's not one great big thing that makes your life a career. It's the million little things that you do every single day to create an environment where you can be successful.
Would you, because you may have a different answer or it may be the same, but what is almost like a best kept secret of networking that you think most people don't know or would need to learn?
Oh gosh, I'll be back in an hour and a half when I can think through that a little bit. I'd have to go back to the education part and the research part, because I've seen so many people that I share that story with, and they say, "Does that really help?" And then I'll share a story, like there's one in the book about a fellow that worked for a major company in Atlanta, and this was 2006 or 7. LinkedIn was really going well. Facebook was kind of just getting off the ground. And before the lunch I had with him, I went through LinkedIn. He's not even on LinkedIn. I Googled him. I did everything in the world I could find. I could find nothing about this guy. I called people at the company that I know, and every single one of them said, "Oh, he's a great guy. Y'all going to hit it off. You're going to do great, da-da-da-da-da." And yet I still know nothing about him. And I said, with questions like, is he married? Does he have children? Where did he go to school? I don't know, but you're going to really get along, what have you. Night before, I thought, well, this is not going to work, but I'll look on Facebook for the heck of it. Not only did I find him on Facebook, but I found a picture of his wife and his daughter. I know where he went to school. More information than his mama knew about him. He even took the time to list his 10 favorite songs of all times on his Facebook page, which I downloaded, and I burned a CD. I go to pick him up the next day, and he gets in the car, and I flip in my CD, and his ears tuned up. He said, "God, you listen to good music." I said, "You like that?" What kind of lunch do you think we had? We were friends. We were brothers. We were talking about music and this, that, and the other, and we joined. Now, I don't want to say that he was the sharpest knife in the drawer, because I don't listen to Beastie Boys, to be honest with you. Bones, Thug, and Harmony are not in my repertoire of music. Violent Femmes, well, I don't even want to go there. But nonetheless, we got back over to his office, and I went to drop him off, and I said, "Listen, let me give you this CD. You're going to enjoy it more than I did. I don't listen to a lot of that music, but you listed that as your 10 favorite on your Facebook page." He looked at me, shook his head a few times, and said, "You are good. You are very good." And in reality, he's wrong. I wasn't good. I took information that he put out there for everybody to read, and yet most people won't.
Wow.
People won't take the time to do the work, and if you're not willing to take time to do the work, then you're probably not going to see the success that you could if you did. So, if I had 5 more minutes to brainstorm, I might come up with 1 or 2 other little things. But I think the key is, and knowledge, not just about that person, but continue the knowledge. I read 3 or 4 newspapers every single morning, not word for word. I skim them. I listen to podcasts, and I also read a lot of posts of folks. And often, I will send somebody an article and about something that we've discussed that's a problem that's going through, and I'll see something, New York Times, Washington Post, Atlanta Business Chronicle, the AJC, whatever, and I'll send them a link bright and early in the morning. They'll call me back and say, "Oh my gosh, this is exactly what I've been looking for." Again, sharing knowledge changes the equation. You become a source of help, and you help that person's life succeed, and you help people succeed, they're going to be standing in line to help you succeed. So again, transfer of knowledge. I mean, knowledge is the secret sauce in every relationship. So your knowledge of that person, maybe their family, maybe their kids, maybe their favorite football, baseball, basketball team, whatever, but then knowledge about their business so you can help them be more successful. So knowledge and information, and we're in the information age, so by gosh, and it's out there if you're not too lazy to look for it.